Teens and the pandemic, coping with uncertainty, searching for a positive emotional well-being. Brought to you by COVID Recovery Iowa. These past few months have been difficult for everyone, especially teens. So how are teens feeling during the pandemic? Here are a few answers from teens your age. Some report feeling confused. There's so much information coming in at the same time, it's hard to process. Other teens report feeling lonely all the time, even when they have lots of people that care about them around. And some even say that they feel sad, not necessarily depressed, just sad. Many also say that they feel frustrated about not being able to control what is around them, not being able to control what the future or the outcome is going to be. Fear. Fear that this may be the last interaction that they will have with the people they care about. Uncertainty. Teens worry about the future, what the new normal is going to be. They question, when is the pandemic going to be over? Is this really going to get better? Others report lack of motivation. When you're in school, you usually have a strict schedule every single day. And now with the pandemic, the schedule has completely shifted. It's like there's no real consistency, and it's hard to find motivation to do even the little things. Teens report also feeling overwhelmed, having too much homework, sometimes working virtually from home. It just represents too much of a demand, too many expectations. Many teens report feeling trapped or cramped up, especially because they are at home with the rest of their family members. It's like sometimes you just can't breathe, like you don't have space for yourself. You can't just be on your own. Unable to focus, especially on schoolwork. I mean, everything is just so distracting. Other teens report feeling low energy and being less productive. It's like you have all this time on your hands, but you're really not using it for anything. A lot of teens report missing their daily routine before the pandemic. The interactions that they had at school with people, friends, family, weekends, everything. They just miss it. Many teens are just missing their friends and the people that they care about outside of their family. It's hard to stay connected. Zoom, FaceTime, you name it, it's just not the same. Some teens report that it is very hard to open up and share their feelings, even with their loved ones. It's just very difficult to put yourself out there and not feel exposed. Sometimes you just don't want someone to fix your problems. You just want someone to listen and not judge you. This emotional roller coaster can be difficult to manage. Some teens say that teens' problems require teen solutions. So here are some examples from teens your age on how they have been coping with unpleasant feelings during the pandemic in a healthy way. Listening to music has been my escape, especially when I need a moment to myself. One of my closest friends and I have become virtual workout buddies. It helps to keep each other motivated and accountable. I live in an apartment with my family, so we don't have a lot of room to work out. Um, so if the weather's nice, I go out for a run or I ride my bike. I've been using my dad's old camera when I go out for a walk. I take pictures of things that I find interesting, and this helps me focus on something other than the pandemic. The way that I've been coping with these feelings about the pandemic is checking on the people that I care about every day if I can. I shoot them a text or send them an email or connect with them on social media. This gives me a peace of mind knowing that there's someone out there thinking of me, and I try to let them know that I am here for them too. Something that has helped me cope with the situation is changing my mindset and not measure myself based on what I can actually do in a day. It's mostly focusing on the things that make me feel better. I play the guitar and I like learning new songs, so I try to invest time doing that when I start feeling overwhelmed. I also have some books that I always wanted to finish, so I guess that's the way that I've been coping with this. I know this is going to sound cheesy because a lot of adults say, keep a journal, that will help you. Well, I started writing all my feelings and all the thoughts that went to my head when I didn't have people to talk to, and it helped me. It actually helped me see how much I have learned and to also see how much I have accomplished. Now I actually keep a list of all the things that I want to do. So it helps me feel less frustrated and overwhelmed. One of my biggest frustrations with the pandemic is that there's really not knowing what's going to happen next. So my expectations had to change. So instead of complaining about all the things that I cannot do, I mean, I can go up all day. Now I actually make a list of all the things I plan to do when the pandemic is over. Since the pandemic started, I actually noticed that I spend way too much time on social media, and this was making me feel overwhelmed, angry at times, and one day I just decided that I was going to create my social media hours of operation, kind of like a job. You know, I work from this time to this time, or I'm available from this time to this time. So, and yes, some of my friends were like, what? And of course, my parents were like, we're so proud of you. Honestly, I noticed that I really was not as stressed or angry or frustrated. It actually helped me. Ultimately, what you do with your feelings is what matters, how you cope with them. And this is really what is going to make an impact on your well being and whether or not it's going to be a positive or a negative outcome. So, things like violence, vaping, drinking alcohol, using illegal substances, misusing prescription drugs, or spending way too much time playing video games or gambling, all these things can actually affect our well being. So, how have you been coping during the pandemic? Nick, like many other teens in Iowa, was also affected by the pandemic. His daily routine and the expectations that he had for his future completely changed overnight. So here's Nick telling you how he handled all these feelings.
Is Nick, and I am a high school junior. COVID-19 has made things difficult this year. Last spring, I lost my track season due to COVID. Even though it was canceled, I still trained through expecting to still have a season and do workouts. This fall, I couldn't do marching band because of COVID, and I couldn't do the college visits I wanted to do because of COVID because they weren't doing in-person visits.
Teens that are in a leadership role at their school or in their community are usually expected to keep it together, but they are teens, they are human, and they experience and go through the same emotions like everybody else. Here is Miss Iowa Teen USA 2020 to share how she's been coping with the pandemic.
Hi, I'm Haley Parton, Miss Iowa Teen USA 2020. For most of us, this has been a confusing, frustrating, and oftentimes uncertain year. If you were like me, you were going through a roller coaster of emotions. Many of us feel a bit isolated and lonely as we navigate through all of the constantly changing information being provided about COVID-19. And it's okay to not be okay. I just wanted to let you know that you are not alone. The best advice I have is to stay virtually connected with family and friends. I would also encourage you not to treat this downtime like a vacation. Start making goals, learn something new, get outside. I think fresh air and exercise will do us all some good. And remember, we're all in this together.
For more information on virtual support groups for teens and preteens,